Namaste and welcome. I am Gloria Grace Rand. I am so glad that you have joined us for another episode of Live, Love, Engage. Thank you for listening. And today I am joined by someone who I met through Facebook. It's wonderful how you can connect with people online. She is an amazing woman. Her name is Marcia Merrill, and she has over 3 decades of experience coaching people through life transitions, including 15 years as a career advisor, assistant director, and a college career center. She's the author of Turning Midlife into the Right Life. I like that. That's a good title. And a contributing author to numerous international bestsellers, covering topics from grief to successful entrepreneurship. And Marcia is a creative and resourceful coach known by her clients as the human Google. I like that. So you must know a lot of stuff, or at least you know how to pull up a lot of stuff. So, welcome.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for asking me.
Yeah, well, awesome. Well, one of the reasons why I thought this be perfect to have you on is, unfortunately, as we're recording this, it's the end of April and we're in the middle of this pandemic. Well, hopefully we're coming to maybe possibly the end, I hope. But a lot of people have been certainly suffering. They've been losing loved ones and have been grieving. And I know that you are quite familiar with this process, having only within the last couple of years lost your husband and become a widow yourself. So I thought it would be useful to start off talking about that and how you coped with that occurrence.
Well, he died of bladder cancer in June of 2018. Was diagnosed 14 months earlier with stage 4 bladder cancer, and my world turned upside down. Business didn't matter anymore. It was appointments in the hospital and all that. How I coped? Well, right now, when I think about it, when things got really bad, I played probably 9 games of Words with Friends from people all over. It is wonderful that way. You can tell I've looked in my journals as something else. I keep a journal since I was 10, so I got a U-Haul carrying them. But it's really great because of the book that I'm writing. He's gone, how to transition from soulmate to widow. We did everything together. We tandem bicycled. I mean, how metaphorical is that? He was in the front, I was in the back. So it was quite devastating, to say the least. I think that I coped much better than I thought I would because I was organized. Grief, I had to put up major grieving until I packed up my house and downsized and got ready to live in an apartment. So I was initially thinking we're going to buy rancher and life would go on. Well, it didn't. I'm known as a transition chick besides human Google, and Facebook was really helpful. Just the support. I was very transparent what was going on. I found that I wanted a widow coach and I couldn't find one. So I became my own coach. And that really helped having someone in my corner. I know it sounds like schizophrenic, but really someone to think about these things, to not get overwhelmed, to do the next thing, even if the next thing is making a phone call. I mean, I wrote a huge laundry list of all things I had to do, and that's overwhelming in itself. But then it was like, I don't have to do them all today. I can take my time.
Right.
The next thing. That was one way of coping. And I reached out to my Facebook family, to my real family. I'm an only child, and both my parents are gone, so the Merrills have really taken me in, which is nice. Sometimes that doesn't happen. You kind of lose track of people.
Mm.
But that's really how I cope. Writing in a journal, coaching myself, and reaching out.
Mm. That's awesome. I want to ask you a little bit. I was going to ask you about something else, but I want to ask you a little bit more about the actual grief process itself, because I know for me, I went through it a few years ago. My sister passed at the end of 2016, and the next 2 years after that were definitely a lot of sort of hills and valleys of, like, all of a sudden grief would come on, and just when I kind of thought I was getting back in gear, and then something would happen. How was that? Did you find that sort of experience?
Well, grief is a roller coaster. There's not neat steps that you can go through, and acceptance and this and that.
Right.
And I think that I really had to be gentle with myself, not do it all at once, and know that I wasn't totally there. Widow brain, brain fog, whatever you want to call it. It had nothing to do with my intelligence or going senile.
Right.
Yes, I just didn't know. Someone could face to face tell me, I'm meeting you downstairs, and I would be waiting for them to come back and do something. Oh, it just happened. I had 14 months to prepare, but you're never prepared. I'm in my second year. First year, pretty much in shock. You don't believe it, and you cry continually. I thought I had superhuman tear ducts because I would cry.
Yeah.
So I'm not a pretty crier. But little by little, it got better. What I call those things? Grief ambushes. You're just going along, minding your own business, and a song will come on, or item that you've gotten from the grocery store makes you think of something else. You don't know, so you're not prepared. You pretty much are like, yeah, I'm good. I'm going along. Wham. I like to say it's all over, but it's really not.
Yeah.
The life-changing event.
Absolutely. So what, from your experience now, and I love how that you've decided to become a coach to help other women in this situation, some similar situation to you, I think is great. So what advice would you have for someone who finds themselves, especially maybe suddenly losing someone? Because I know, at least you said that you were sort of prepared because you had the diagnosis, but sometimes things can happen where we lose a loved one really quick. And then,
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I was prepared, but even when he was in hospice, I figured the cavalry would come, they'd have a new drug, and it would be okay. And he'd get out of hospice. So that doesn't happen too often, as in never. So my strategy was to get information from him. However, not all of the information made sense. It was from his phone, which is not going to be on forever. And I thought he was a lot more savvy doing taxes and financial stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought it was together. Hey, I wasn't together. Get passwords, start doing the finances so you're not like thrown into it like I was. We were joined at the hip, and he was the financial guy and the computer guy, which is why I'm having major problems right now with my computer. But the first month I sent the mortgage to the gas and electric company.
Oh no.
I didn't pay the water bill. I thought it was taken out. It wasn't. So months later, thank heaven they didn't turn the water off. And they understood.
Yeah.
Gas and electric sends check back saying, "What are you doing?" So first things I did was cut off all payments from the bank. That's what your first step is. You want to go to your bank, give them the certificate, and get that straightened out. If it's only on his account, it takes a little longer, and usually banks might advance you some money to deal with some stuff. But I kind of had to do it by the seat of my pants. And when I think about it, why didn't I ask him? I have no idea. I don't even know if my taxes for last year or 2 years ago were filed. He was so meticulous and then wasn't. And it would be a day-by-day thing. Like, he'd be talking about how to do something with the computer and the phone, and the next day he's babbling, and I had no idea what he was saying.
Yeah, man.
So I had to get organized and realize that, so what if you pay it online? I'm going to do everything the old school way. No, I'm doing this.
Yep.
It was a very eye-opening experience, and I don't recommend that anyone do that.
Well, I think that is a good lesson. And I know that's something my husband is very good about diligently saying, we have a book where we have all the information, and he's even, told the kids, this is where some of this information is too, because again, if something were to happen, God forbid, they need to be able to have access to that information. But it is, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, if you need to make sure, or you even if you're same-sex marriage, you need to make sure that your partner, if you've got a partner, a life partner, to make sure that you both know where to find things, how to be able to access stuff, because you never know, things happen. And
exactly.
Yeah. So what is there something that some hope, I guess, maybe, what's maybe a silver lining that may have come out of this for you and that you can offer people?
Well, you're stronger than you think you are. And writing my book, I looked, what do you do first time for a widow, or something very generic, to see what was out there. And the first thing they said was get a team together. Well, I don't know about you, but that was the last thing on my mind, was getting a team and being a leader and blah, blah.
Right.
But the idea of reaching out to people always are saying they want to help. I think that was really important, to think of how a lot of people ask me, what do I say? Well, you can't say anything, really. I'm sorry for your loss. Don't say he's in a better place or anything like that, because you're not ready to hear it.
Yeah.
Really helpful things were watering my lawn. I'm really basic things. People went overboard with casseroles and muffins, whatever. But that was something I didn't have to worry about. Pruning my yard, walking my dog. Poor dog had no idea. My husband was really that dog's primary caretaker.
Gotcha.
I think that just having a list of what possible things people can do, so feel better and to help you out. Oftentimes we're like, oh no, we don't need anything, I'm fine.
Yeah.
You're not. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I say being gentle with yourself. It is okay, and make a list, even though it sounds stupid, casseroles, muffins, whatever. Dog walking through your windows, someone took my trash out. Yay. That wasn't in my radar at the moment. So I was real lucky that he had some really good friends and they came over and helped me clean out stuff. I didn't even know what it was. So that was real helpful, reaching out, even to Facebook. I have a group now, Alone Together Club, and it started as kind of a panacea for me. I'm alone with my cat.
Right.
So I wanted to reach out to others. And we started with a couple people, and it's now 57. So I obviously hit a chord. Just gives me purpose, and that's really important. Even if your purpose is getting up and getting dressed, don't think that you're going to do it all, because you're not. You're really not. And I feel called to help widows like me. I know it's absolutely devastating, whether or not you knew it or you didn't. So I think it's real important to know that there's something better, and the reaching out and not isolating is what you want to do. But Operation Keep Marcia Busy. I had all these people take me to lunch and dinner and whatnot, or calling me up, how you doing? Dumb question, but that's it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know it is, I think the hard thing is that people who, they don't know what to say when, you know, a friend or a family member goes through some of this stuff. I like how you said, don't say that they're in a better place, because that isn't going to help in the time being. Maybe, you know, a year from now or 2 years from now, they might respond to that. But even then, you don't know what their beliefs are necessarily. And I think so what would be a better thing maybe for someone to say, just to at least, because I know that there are people who would be like, you know, I want to be able to be of some sort of comfort, but I don't know what to say.
I think I'm sorry for your loss. You don't know what anyone's beliefs are. I'm included. So don't start telling me that there's this chaplain or rabbi or whatever. Thank you. And we can talk individually about that. But in the group, I'm sorry for your loss. And real service, that was fine. I talked to one person and she said, well, you know, you knew he was gonna die anyway. That's not helpful. Really not helpful.
Oh, no.
And if they say, can I do anything? Now, if they're long distance, they're probably not gonna weed your garden. But that might be something, you know, I haven't taken out my garbage. I haven't had time to take a shower. I haven't wanted to take a shower. The first couple of weeks, I ran around in this clothing. I was putting clothing away. I got a top coat out. It's 85 degrees out, and I have this long coat on. Or someone came to the door. It was nuts, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. But try to give people tasks. They like that.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, but realize that people go back to their lives, but you are the one dealing with the grief.
Yeah, absolutely.
And folks, I mean, life goes on. Pandemic and life goes on very differently. It still happen.
Yeah, absolutely. What would be, was there anything in particular that surprised you personally about going through this experience that you didn't expect, never would have thought that would have happened?
I was physically in pain. I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't know. I didn't know. But I was physically in pain. My heart was breaking. I mean, literally in shards. It was very, very disconcerting. And I was like, am I having a heart attack? What's going on? And my stomach was just in knots. Now I know what that means. Eating was not an option in the daytime, but a lot of drinking water. It's really important to do that. Like I said, be gentle with yourself. If you really want a vanilla milkshake, have a vanilla milkshake.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really is about making yourself feel good in the moment, and because it's a rough process and it takes time. So you just have to kind of figure out ways that you can get through it day by day, because it does eventually, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just hard to see it when you're in the middle of the dark, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, people would say, oh, it'll get better in time. You really don't believe that. It's going to be terrible forever, and you're just going to be a washcloth and run dry, and that's it. It does get better with time. And now I can look at certain pictures that I really couldn't before and think to memories and smile.
Yeah.
I don't expect that you're going to go home and want to look in your wedding album and be all happy. It's just not going to happen right then.
Yeah. Did you, that reminded me of something. Did you ever have anybody say, like, well, it's been, over a year now, if you snap out of it kind of thing, you're like, okay, hasn't it been long enough?
Right, 3 months.
Really?
Getting questions about time to move on. And
wow.
It's not, it sounds like you're leaving something, and case moving forward. It's much better to think about moving on. I was asked if I wanted to start dating.
Jeez.
Friends, are you kidding me? But people were kind of like, okay, now's the time, are you over it? Can we talk about, other things?
Yeah.
Helpful person signed me up for a free dating thing. All of a sudden, there are these men pictures on my phone.
Oh, no. Oh.
The same woman that said, well, you knew he was going to die.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, she's not my best friend now. She wasn't bad either, but she really wanted to tell me she knew what I was going through.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's another really non-helpful thing I'm going through. I'm really, because it's personal, unique grieving experience. What I say sometimes is, I really get it. And people realize I really do.
Yeah.
Rather than I know what you're going through, which is one of those things you say, but really don't. It's not helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So that is so important for people to realize, that everybody grieves in their own way, and it takes as long as it takes. So there's no time limit on it. And I know it can be frustrating for well-meaning family and friends, but you've got to let people work through it. That's because that's the only way it's going to actually work. So, yeah. Oh, goodness.
I found, I wrote a letter to him, I wrote a letter as him. I didn't mail any of these letters.
Right, yeah.
I made a ceremony and tore it up and burned it in a bowl. I have a lot of wood in my house. I was really careful, but it was symbolic. That stuff is gone. Trivial stuff like leaving a drawer open, doesn't matter. Priorities really shift, and really stress enough getting enough sleep, getting tired at first, and that's okay, but at least getting rest, body in a prone position, even if you're in your shirt. That's really important. Drinking water, exercising helps of some stress.
Yeah.
This isn't the time necessarily to pick up new routine. Okay. You have more energy if you exercise and that kind of thing. And also realize that it's just exhausting. And it's not like, I didn't do anything today. Yeah, you really did. You got dressed, you watched TV, whatever.
Yeah.
But you did something. And if you don't even think so, you're going to be exhausted. There are times I can remember I just sat on my chair and I thought, well, I have to get up and I have to do this. No, that's okay too.
Yeah, absolutely. So if, I guess what I would think probably one of the best things is being able to know you don't have to do this alone and
Right.
reach out to people. So how, in particular, because you're coaching now, you say, so if someone wanted to be able to reach out to you, for instance, and you also mentioned Facebook, so maybe you can repeat that again
Right.
for if someone
Yeah.
wants to.
Certainly all over Facebook and Twitter and all that. Also, my website is widowcoachingnow.com, and you can get a hold of me. When we talk about transitions, it's all about reinventing yourself. It's really specialized with midlife women. So my site is midlife transition coaching. I need to know that. Okay, midlife transition coaching at gmail.com.
Okay.
Process of transferring everything over. But like I say, friend me on Facebook, shout out, whatever, join the Alone Together Club. Most of the members have someone living with them, but we're all alone at some times. What's said about isolation, that's really important to not do.
Yeah.
So you want to, and it's kind of time to go in the cocoon and not do anything. But getting out, walking in nature, even though you're like, no, I don't really want to, it really helped. As a coach, I would say, well, is it real? Is it fear? Okay, is there evidence for this? Is false evidence appearing real? So I'm like, okay, what am I afraid of? What's going on? And I know, talk myself kind of, and write in my journal. That's really important. And I made a list of everything. I had a calendar, wrote stuff on the calendar. Stuff didn't happen according to the calendar, but it was all there. So I wouldn't forget anything. And then I had a friend look at it as well and ask me if I forgot something, because she had been in the same situation. So that was really helpful. And she taught me something. I'm okay, but not today.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Giving yourself permission to not be okay today. Yeah.
It's not a good day.
Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah. That's good. Well, thank you so much for sharing this awesome information with us today. I know it's going to help people out there. And so make sure that you do, find Marcia. And if you are alone, even if you're alone, like right now, just, dealing with the pandemic, there are a lot of people who live alone. So even I think that's probably a good place to hang out. So to check in with that group so you know that you don't have to be alone.
Right. I do a lot of things, and well, I'm a coach, so everything I do is part of coaching. But the idea of the pandemic, isolation, I can't tell you how many widows are talking about it's really not good. It gives me time to think. And if you're thinking and thinking, I'd write it out or use a tape recorder on your phone, get those feelings out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because if you leave them bottled up, that's just going to cause much more problems down the line.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's a good idea. I love journaling. That's such a excellent way to be able to help in any circumstance, no matter what you're dealing with. Even if you have, if you're not dealing with grief, but sometimes you just have frustration with, what's going on in your life right now. I know I've coached my clients as well and saying, just, get those feelings out on paper for a while, and it really can help you a lot. So great advice.
And also I had a gratitude journal. And even when it was the darkest and I was a basket case, and that's okay. I would think of things to be grateful for, even sunshine or rain or that or in my lap or whatever. It didn't have to be a big world peace kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, just shifting your energy to something positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. Gratitude is definitely can cure a lot of ills, physical as well as mental, and just can really shift your vibration. So yeah. And like you said, it doesn't have to be anything major. It can be just, I'm grateful that I'm sitting on a chair right now. I'm grateful that I've got a roof over my head. It doesn't have
roof over my head.
Yeah.
I know what the banking situation is. I have animals near me. People are interested, or I look at all the sympathy cards. I had them on the table and took a picture of them. Cheered me up. There were people there.
Yeah.
Don't isolate. It's just really bad for you. It's bad for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we are social creatures, and we need to stay connected, even if it's over Zoom right now. Whatever you need to do, find a way to stay connected. Don't allow yourself to be isolated. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being on the program today. Thank you all for listening. And if you want to make sure that you are connected so you don't miss our next episode, be sure and subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you are on, whether it's iTunes or Stitcher or Google, we're there. And also, if you're watching the video, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Gloria Rand Video. And until next time, I encourage you to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.